Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If you look at how low we got, what was the best we could do, it was around 20,000 new infections a day still. That was sort of the best we could get, several hundred people still dying every single day. And as you know, we've started to open up again, and as a result, we're going to see an uptick. The question is this: we know it's going to go up. Is it going to go plateau from one plateau to another plateau, or are you going to get behind the curve and all of a sudden the thing takes off into exponential growth? If that happens, it's very hard to catch up.
Dr. Goopter right there, the Goopster. What is it? Well, coronavirus is not gone anywhere. Looking around, it's going up. Texas, you had 5,000 cases. Here in Arizona, we had 3,500 cases in one day. That's a lot of cases. It is. Here's what I look at. What's the death rate like? Because I think that's very important. What's the recovery rate like? These are the things that we need to start looking at if we're going to do the data. And it's hard to tell because there's so many asymptomatic people out there. It's not going anywhere. We need to figure out what we need to do to get a handle on this. We're not going to have a second shutdown. It's just not going to happen. I've said it over and over. I'll say it again. Genie's out of the bottle. You're not putting Genie back in the bottle. Anybody ever watch I Dream of Jeannie? She went in the bottle when she wanted to. But then put the cap on the bottle. It's not going to happen again. Not going to happen again. So how do we get a handle on this thing? Because we need to. For the psyche of our country? Absolutely. For the psyche of the economy? 100%.
The only thing, really, that other countries have been able to use to be able to bring their case counts low into the teens or hundreds, not the tens of thousands, has been robust testing. I mean, finding people who have the virus, isolating them, and breaking the cycle of transmission. There's Arizona. They've been going up. They should be going down. 2,000 hospitalizations. I mean, that at this point in the pandemic, that is not what we should be seeing. Same thing you'd see in Texas, same thing you'd see in Florida as well.
Here's something else, though, that is different. We're a large nation. We're spread out. We're 50 mini countries inside of a big country. People are going to go and live their lives. Part of what we have is a certain amount of freedom and a certain distrust with government. It's like we're born with a certain distrust for government. So being told you got to do this, you're told you got to do that, it's tough to do. It is. But this also is part of the personal responsibility side of things, having personal responsibility. But here's the thing with testing. No matter how much you test, right? No matter how much you test, your test is only as good as the moment you took the test. Because there's community spread, because it is everywhere, it's only as good as that moment you took it. Because you could travel from there to the grocery store to the gym, go on a walk, and by the time you get your test back in 2 days or whatever it is, depending on where you are, what kind of test you took, you could still be infected now. How much testing can you do? We have 350 million people. Do we need to do more testing? I'd like to do more testing. Is testing important? Absolutely. But I think more important is figuring out a way to make sure that we protect the vulnerable and understand that while we're testing, the reality is there's a certain amount of risk that comes with this. Period. Case closed. It's out there. It's in society. And as Fauci said yesterday,
in other areas of the country, we're now seeing a disturbing surge of infections that looks like it's a combination, but one of the things is an increase in community spread. And that's something that I'm really quite concerned about.
Yeah, because people are out there, they're living their lives. And you've told them they had the lockdown. They did. We seem to be moving the ball all the time. Face mask, gloves, no face mask, yes gloves, no gloves, face mask. Things seem to always moving. I understand it's novel. We get it. But the reality is this is America. People, we need to take personal responsibility. We like our freedoms, and at the same time, we should respect one another. I'm not a huge fan of the mask. They ask us to wear it inside the office, not when we're on the air. And if we're just going to get a drink of water or run into the bathroom and you don't wear it, that's fine. But if you're doing anything else, this is what they ask. They've asked us for my local show. You guys need to prep in a different way. You guys are in an office. You guys are too close together. So we got to go into another room that's bigger. Fine. I respect that. Totally. It's about personal responsibility. It is. It's about the personal responsibility. We like our freedoms, but with freedoms comes responsibility. We need to take some responsibility and do the best we possibly can. At the same time, we need to get on with our life. And I don't think we're going to be fully running forward until we figure out if there's a therapeutic or a vaccine that's going to help us take this thing on, much like the flu.
If you look at the history of viral diseases, it is generally vaccines that put the nail in the coffin of these types. We are now mounting a major effort in which we're collaborating with industry and public-private partnerships to get vaccine trials that are developed that harmonize with each other. You've probably heard that one of those vaccines, and there are more than one, there are several that are moving along at various paces. One of them will enter phase 3 study in July.
Yeah, that's great. Means it's getting closer. He, Fauci, believes yesterday as he's testifying, we're getting very, very close to getting a vaccine, which will help the economy and it'll help everybody else out there who's worried about getting it or who's worried they're going to lose their job because of the spread of this. This is what we need, and a therapeutic, which will probably come sooner rather than later. It's not gone anywhere. Personal responsibility. I know it's crazy. We live in a world where we kind of shun personal responsibility anymore, especially for young kids. But we have to do this. But we also have to understand there's a certain amount of risk. There's a risk in life. You step out that door every single day. There is a risk. There is a risk. Most people are okay with the risk. Most people are fine with a certain amount of risk. So let's just be smart about it. Because if you're looking for leaders to guide you through this, the reality is you're the best leader for you. You take personal responsibility. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, no.
NASCAR is investigating a horrible incident.
A horrifying, racist, jarring, disturbing,
heinous, perverted,
ugly,
cowardly,
dreadful,
hateful,
stunning, shocking, appalling, disgusting reminder of who, again, this sport is for.
A noose found in the garage stall of Bubba Wallace.
Obviously, this is completely appalling, but do you think it's surprising?
No, it's not surprising at all.
So yesterday, they called in the FBI and Department of Justice, FBI, did all of this study. And I said yesterday, it's skeptical. And skepticism's healthy in a lot of things. We've seen a lot of this. I'm not saying he's Jesse Smollett. Not even close. Not saying any of that. So too many people out there saying, oh, my God, no, he didn't. He didn't even see it. It's got to be tough for him, too, right? Because there's all this confirmation bias everywhere we go now. Everybody's looking for something to be racist, to be sexist, homophobic, and wrong. They're looking to be offended. Everything is personal. And tensions are high. And then this happens. And the people are like, he's just like Jesse Smollett. No, he's not. They saw something, found something, assumed something, it went up the chain of command, if you will, with the FBI. They took a look and they're like, thing's been here for a while, since October. All it is a piece of rope, helps pull the garage door up and down. That's all it is. But people are coming after him. I don't think it's fair. I don't. And it's got to be a little embarrassing as well, because you have everybody rallying around you. And then you feel like, everybody's going to think that I set it up. You couple this with the Confederate flag ban, tensions are high.
It wasn't targeted towards me, but it's still frustrating to know that, people are always going to test you and always just going to try to debunk you. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around now from saying I'm a fake and all this stuff. And that I reported it when it was news that was brought to me. It was information that was brought to me.
Is it part of that confirmation bias? So everybody's looking around for something. He's got the Black Lives Matter t-shirt. He's got a Black Lives Matter car. We've got tension in this country because of race. Statues are being pulled down. It's feeling like we're bubbling up. We're frustrated because we're at home. People are looking around. Everything is something now. And we'll talk more about this. Plus, and this is a perfect example of what everything is something. Because what you didn't hear is last week something happened in Oakland. And when you hear this and that, you start to realize, okay, we're now trying too hard. We're now trying too hard to find things that aren't there, but we're seeing the shadows. It's a ghost. It's a demon. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Rough Greens, my dog Doodle. Doodle's crazy now. So Doodle, my dog, I talk about Doodle. He had bad hips. His hips still aren't great, but they're 1,000 times better because he's got fatty tumors and he struggled for years. Now he's like a puppy and he runs around and he's crazy. And we're like, oh, goodness me. And it's because of Rough Greens. We started giving him Rough Greens about 2 months ago. We've tried everything. So we sprinkle it. He only likes dry food. And that dry food, it's supposed to sit on the shelf for years. It's not, Rough Greens isn't a dog food. You just sprinkle it right on top of the dog food and away you go. That's it. He loves it. Tastes great. It's got all the things he needs. Natural vitamins and minerals, fruits, vegetables, digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, antioxidants. It's got all kinds of things in it. Guess what? It's changed him tremendously. If you love your animals like I love my animals, this is what you need to do. Rough Greens, 14-day jump starts, $14.95. It's the best thing you'll ever do for your little pal there, or your big pal. It is changed Doodle. It'll help your dog reduce or eliminate your dog's symptoms. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. That's ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
And whoever had the time to create that and tie it up like that, just they were skeptical about it. And, when the FBI says those types of things, and I told them, I had questioned my team members, are we sure that this isn't something that we're kind of taking out of context? And they backed my team up and reiterated that if you were to see this at this time, you would stand with your team right now of why they were so alerted. So it is what it is.
Bubba Wallace right there, talking about the Noose incident. But everybody's seeing things, right? We're seeing everything. We're reading into certain things. We're seeing certain things. Because we're heightened right now. And everybody's got their confirmation biases anyways. Now they're on blast. They're on blast. You see sexism, you see racism, you see homophobia, you see everything is just boom. It's out there and it's on steroids and we're running around and everything. The wind blows. Woo, it's this. I don't think he did anything on purpose. I don't think any of that stuff. But this is the wackiness of the world that we live in right now, where you get some people that are like, I'm not quite sure I buy into this. And they're skeptical. And then you get a lot of other people that are like, well, it's got to be a news. Absolutely. Has to be. I know that it was 2019 and you could see it in pictures, but that was because somebody was for the foresight of that. Settle down. Last week, this is how much craziness is going on. This is last week in Oakland.
These symbols are symbols of racial violence, and it's incumbent on all of us to have that sensitivity, to have that knowledge. What a privilege for those of us that don't feel complete fear and terror when we see a rope in the tree.
Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf is so alarmed by the video she saw of a rope that looked like a noose in a tree at Lake Merritt, she's calling for a hate crime investigation.
A hate crime investigation. There's some sort of noose thing in a tree in Oakland.
The intentions will matter with regard to whether or not this is prosecuted as a hate crime, but intentions don't matter.
What? Let's say that again.
The intentions will matter with regard to whether or not this is prosecuted as a hate crime, but intentions don't matter.
No, intentions do matter. And why is that? Because everybody's running around screaming and yelling, it's a noose, it's a noose, it's, oh my God, it's a noose, it's a noose. Look at this, oh, people are freaking out, and oh my God, what is it really?
But this man, Victor Sengbei, told us the rope is part of a rigging used by him and his friends as part of a larger swing system. He even shared this video of it in action with ABC 7 News.
Out of the dozens and hundreds and thousands of people that have walked by, no one, has thought that it looked anywhere close to a noose. Right? Folks have used it for exercise. Folks have, it was really a fun addition to the park that we tried to create.
Yeah, that's all it was. And by the way, he's black. Didn't even look anything. But we see things now. Part of the confirmation bias, that we see racism everywhere, we see sexism, we see everything is everywhere, heightened. Everything now, there is an intention. Somebody's got workout equipment, it's got to be a noose, huh? Somebody pulls down the garage thing, it's been there since 2019, it's got to be a noose. We're seeing things. I don't blame Bubba Wallace. At all. But this is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is why we need to take a deep breath, which is hard to do because we're so reactionary. And then we get it based on our emotions. And then it gets crazy. It's just nuts. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Check out the Instagram, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're like trying to teach you things on the old Chad Benson Show. Producer Phil, I have a question for you. What's the name of the state of Rhode Island?
It is Rhode Island and something plantations.
That's right, Providence Plantation. Most people have no idea that's the full name of it, but not for long.
Rhode Island is moving toward changing its official name, the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, due to its slavery connotations. Governor Gina Raimondo, a Democrat, signed an executive order on Monday declaring that her office would not use the word plantations in future executive orders, citations, or on its website. Last week, the Rhode Island legislature signaled it will move forward with state Senate legislation to get a referendum on the name change on the November ballot. The state's only black state senator, Harold Metz, introduced the bill.
Most people, I was asking several people today, because it's been a long time since I'm like, yeah, it's not the full name of it is. People are like, oh, it's just Rhode Island? No, it's not. But plantation, I get it. No problem with it. This is where people, I don't really care. You should leave it. It's part of history. There's some things, the statue thing, I just get so frustrated. I saw Adam Carolla tweet it out, right? You want to put a patio on your home. It takes months of permitting to do anything. You want to tear down a statue, just bring your skateboards and some rope. It's crazy, right? I think we can all agree that there's lunacy in a lot of this stuff. And where are the calmer heads? Because I believe that there is an exhausted majority. People like you and me out there, independent in thinking. You may lean a little bit right or a little bit left, but you're not sold on a single party. You're not a single issue voter. You look at the entire body of what's being pitched to you, and you make your decisions based on that. To me, that's just the wise thing to do. But often anymore, it's not, because we're so emotional. We're just like, everything's, oh my God, let's overreact. Let's tear down every statue. Why do we have to tear down? Why can't we build up? Well, because it's just, no, why do we tear down? Because of the meaning of why do we have to tear down? Why not build up something else next to the statues? Why not build up something else next to it? Make it bigger. Doesn't make it go away. There's no eraser for history. You don't tear down the statue and then go open the history books. Oh my God, you guys see that Stonewall Jackson or Ulysses S. Grant, who they tore him down even though he fought? Well, never mind. It's just trying to explain. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. That's what we want. And that's the emotions and lunacy of what we got going on right now. People running around. Let's tear this down. Let's rip this down. Let's do this. Let's do that. You don't do that. Let's lift up, not chop down.
Our founding fathers are being roped to the ground like they were Saddam Hussein. It's no surprise that people who want to say our country is intrinsically evil are so frantic to erase history that they'll break the law to do it. Erasing history is the only way their claims could carry any water. Americans know that an imperfect nation built by imperfect heroes is still the most perfect union the world has ever seen.
Yeah, that's Mitch. Oh, man. I agree with him. They were imperfect people. Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for somebody who's perfect, there was one guy. We know how that worked. Stop with it. Sean King, you guys know him? Provocateur. He is a provocateur. He's the white black guy, right? Well, Chad, that's not very nice to say. He wants all the statues of Jesus in the churches to be taken down. They don't represent him. That's true. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I don't think he was, here's the thing. When people think of Jesus, everybody goes back to like Jesus Christ Superstar and a few other things. And no, a lot of these statues they're a misrepresentation. But come on now. This is the insanity that we have. Doesn't matter. We're tearing everything down. While you're at it, destroy this. While you're at it, let's get rid of that. While you're at it, let's take down Lincoln. Let's get rid of Roosevelt. What about, come on, let's be real. There's a lot of things out there. What's the next thing? Mount Rushmore. People looking at it going, all right, what do we do? How do we take that down? How do I get my skateboard up there? Can you skate up there? That's where we're at. It's ridiculous. It's nuts. But when you tell kids you're the greatest in the world, everything's great, the life that you will lead is going to be the most amazing thing. You can do anything. You just have to go to college. And you send them off to college. And they go to college and they're in these, what's supposed to be these bastions of learning, but open-mindedness. And instead it is the crazy lunacy of do nothing, never did anything professors. And they major in, I hate America, and America's bad. Mom and dad have done everything for them. They don't think for themselves, and they believe that they're entitled to everything and that their thoughts are the only thing that matter. And if you don't believe with them and what they believe in, that you are racist, sexist, homophobic, and you cannot have your own mind. And that's why everything must go. Because if you challenge them, they lose it. So Mitch is right. So tearing it down is the best way to make it go away, because there may be an argument to why you should keep it. And that argument, I can't come up with a defense to fight that argument. So the best thing for us to do is to take our ball and go home, or in this case, rip down our statue and leave, because that way it makes everything better. Doesn't change anything. It just pisses people off. And people that might go, I can understand why you're upset, all of a sudden go, yeah, it's a bridge too far now. I got to go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. It's growing. This crazy lunacy of COVID doesn't seem to be shrinking anywhere. And we're starting to look around and see the numbers continuing to grow, and it's feeling uncomfortable because people are worried as they're coming into second shutdown. How bad is this thing going to be? It's ugly.
Our top doctor is warning Congress they are preparing for a possible coronavirus resurgence.
We're now seeing a disturbing surge of infections.
This fall and winter is going to be difficult, and we need to be prepared for it.
Their assessment backed by troubling numbers. COVID-19 hospitalizations are rising in 21 states, and the rate of positive cases is rising in 23.
Yeah, big time. I'm out here in beautiful Arizona. Guess what? Rising fast. Every day seems to be a new record. Hospitals are feeling the crunch. How much of that is COVID? And how much of that is a lot of other things? Hospitals need to operate at a certain level, keep the lights on. You have 2 months where people couldn't get surgeries in certain states where they stopped elective surgeries. And elective surgeries, by the way, just aren't your new knee or your new hip, right? And somebody's going to get breast. No, it's not that. Some of them were things like heart stents and valves and certain things like that where they monitored people because they want them to eat up space at the hospital expecting a crunch. But what did we think was going to happen? You go inside and you wait. And then they say it's okay to come out. Why? Because you're looking around. You're seeing unemployment go through the roof. You're seeing your tax revenue disappear. You're canceling projects that you had on the books for years. You're starting to figure out, this is going to be an ugly year. You've gone into your rainy day fund and exhausted a ton of that. And you see no end in sight. So you say to yourself, well, the numbers are not as bad as everybody said. So we're going to relax and let everybody out. And that's what's been happening, Dr. Mark Bloom.
It's really frustrating because we've all been saying for a long, long time, we know how to conquer this virus. It is through all of those best practices of social distancing and all of the other things we talk about, wearing a mask, etc. And somewhere around Memorial Day, people just sort of sighed a breath of relief and said, hey, it's summer. I'm going to act like it's summer and I'm going to act like this thing never was here. And I think we're really paying the price for that now.
And it's mostly young people. That's the reality. Dr. Boom will tell you it's mostly young kids who are pretty healthy, and I'm not worried about them dying from it, but they could spread the hell out of it. It's a hoax. It's not a hoax. Look, I don't think this thing's much more dangerous than the flu. The difference between the flu and this is we've got a vaccine for the flu that gives a certain amount of people, a vast amount of people, a certain amount of immunity. Doesn't mean you don't get it still, but we also have therapeutics that treat it. So you never get to the point where you have to be hospitalized, and it still doesn't mean that people don't die. As we find out every year, there's anywhere between 50 and 80,000 people that die from the flu. So I don't think it's much worse, but when you have nothing to combat it, it absolutely is worse. And that's where we're at right now, which puts pressure on the economy because people are wondering, are we going to have a second shutdown? I don't think we will, but the reality is state by state, they may shut down certain areas of the economy that may take years to get back, that are already facing years of getting back, and in some parts, it may never come back.
I think we can avoid lockdown if people do social distancing appropriately. I mean, as I said, we've done that for months across a hospital system. That tells me we can do that in most walks of life. But we're not doing that uniformly. Certainly, many people are doing that, but clearly not enough.
That's where the common sense and just saying, I got some personal responsibility. What's it hurt? It doesn't hurt anyone. It's taking away it's not taking away your freedom. No, but it is. Look, if they come in your house so you have to wear one in your house, then by all means. If you go on a jog and they say you have to wear one, argue that. Right? I got zero. But if you're going into a store and they're asking you to wear it, you can't come in naked. Well, it's does that hurt your freedom? Well, I mean, it's a question. Just a little personal responsibility. That's all we're asking. And trust me, man, I hate wearing these damn things. I got this horrible one. I look like Bane without all the cool stuff from Batman. Yeah. I'm Bane. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Text the program as well. Car Shield, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson. Plans start as low as $99 a month. Call them up. I've got 2 cars. One's a little bit older. I just have it. And I worry about the engine and transmission. I don't have any electronics on that. In fact, the car's old enough that I couldn't even get one of the, like a satellite radio because I travel in between here and nowhere. So I'm like, I'll get one, and I couldn't even get a radio for it. I had to get like a special stick out thing, but I worry about the transmission and the engine. I have a newer car where I have the electronics, and guess what? It went wacky. Car Shield takes care of it. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, saves you 10%. They're going to treat you great. You tell them exactly what you're looking for. So you go to them and say, hey, I'm looking for this because I worry about this with my car. The electronics, transmission, whatever it is, they've got a plan that's right for you. 24/7 roadside assistance, rental car for free while your car's in the shop. Shop, you choose. Take it to the dealership. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. CarShield.com. Check it out right there. Use code Benson. Save 10%. Better yet, call them. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Little Van Hagar. Nope, just the regular Hagar. Little Sammy. Can't drive 55. He also said he would rather die from coronavirus than not play shows. Just to let you guys, how old do you think he is, Producer Phil?
68.
72. Speaking of music yesterday, I had several people chime in because you said something about that guitar. Was it the right guitar from Nirvana?
Martin.
Yeah, they were not happy with you. I was like, Phil knows his stuff. It's like, well, that's the best acoustic guitar in the world. I'm like, whatever. I don't know. Sammy says he's going to play if he has to because he's getting sick and die. Have you been playing in front of an audience during the coronavirus? He says, I'll be comfortable playing a show before there's a vaccine. If it's declining and seems to be going away, told Rolling Stone. If it's going to make a radical statement here, it's hard to say it without stirring somebody up. But truthfully, I'd rather personally get sick and even die. That's what it takes. Look at Sammy. That's why he could never drive 55. Just couldn't do it. That video is so awesome. It is so awesome. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Text the program as well. Speaking of apology tours and people who say things that, quite frankly, get taken once again, you say something, it doesn't even matter if you say it. If you like it, if you laugh at it, that's all people need to go, ha ha! So the Jimmy Kimmel over party has been, people trying to get rid of Jimmy for a while. They are. And the funny thing is, it's people on the left. Now, Jimmy's very much a lefty. But it's the people on the left. You see the people on the right who are always facing the cancellation world on a daily basis. They're like, why would you get rid of him? Well, because of the things he did or the things he said. So he's had to now apologize again for stuff.
In a recently resurfaced clip from The Man Show, Jimmy Kimmel's seen in blackface impersonating former NBA star Karl Malone.
Karl Malone never seen no flying saucer himself.
There's also an old radio bit in which Kimmel, doing a Snoop Dogg song parody, uses the N-word. Many online have called the clips racist, and in a statement, Kimmel apologizes, quote, to those who were genuinely hurt or offended by the makeup I wore or the words I spoke. He goes on to say that at the time he thought of the bits as impersonations and it had nothing to do with the race. But looking back, he finds the sketches embarrassing. And he believes he's evolved and matured over the last 20 plus years and hopes that's evident to anyone who watches his show.
So says his publicist. Do I think Jimmy really feels that way? No, I think Jimmy thinks it's ridiculous. I think they all think it's ridiculous. Yesterday, the calling, because he laughed about Megan Fox. And people are like, well, he wants to have sex with 15-year-old girls because Megan Fox was talking about how she was an extra in a movie and that she was like 15 at the time. And it was one of those things where they put her in a situation where it very much sexualized her. And the director did that. And she laughed at it. And he kind of laughed at it. And people were like, well, that's it. He wants to have sex with 50. Shut up. Joe Rogan laughed at a joke 5 years ago. Now we got to get rid of him. My God, how do you people live with yourself? It's amazing. I love it when they cancel themselves. Oh, uncomfortable. This is what happens when you give everybody a trophy and tell them they're great. You're not. I'm not. You're not. And I'm better than you. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We have got the greatest testing program anywhere in the world. We test better than anybody in the world. Our tests are the best in the world, and we have the most of them. By having more tests, we find more cases. We did 25 million tests. If you look at other countries, they did 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, big countries. We did 25 million, way more by double, triple, quadruple any other country. Therefore, we test, we're going to have more cases. By having more cases, it sounds bad.
Who? What? Huh? Yeah. So what do you think of that? I have no idea. Wait, what? Well, if we got more testing, we have more cases. If we have more cases, that's going to sound bad. Yeah, it is. But so don't test is kind of where I feel like we're going with this one.
But just remember this. The reason we have more cases than other countries is because our testing is so much. Here's what I say. Testing is a double-edged sword. In one way, it tells you you have cases. In another way, you find out where the cases are, and you do a good job. We are doing a great job. We have never been credited for it. We're doing the best testing job anywhere in the world.
He's fun. He's interesting. You ready for 4 more years? That's the question. Right? Are you ready for 4 more years of chaos? Are you ready for 4 more years of, I don't blame him for, I can look at the response and say, I don't think he did a great job. As far as the race relations, he's been tone deaf at certain times. So I know everybody, no, you just don't understand. No, he has been. He's been tone deaf. I can't blame it all on him. Everybody wants to blame everything on him. There's a brush fire. Must be Trump. What? I was joking yesterday. At the end of the day, this race this year between him and Biden is not between him and Biden. It's Trump versus Trump. Yesterday he was out here and he was giving a speech to young Republicans. in a church. I didn't think it was a good idea. As 4,000 people crowded into a church, didn't think it was a good idea, especially with cases spiking here. And I was talking to our reporter down there. I'm like, how diverse is it? He starts laughing. He goes, well, there's some older people. That's what you're asking. The reality is, though, it's between Trump and Trump. People are going to decide. You look at his actions. And if you're a conservative, you can go, I can get behind a lot of his actions. The drama is a bit much for a lot of people. Even people that support his actions, at some point in time, they're like, the drama's a bit much. But he gets people excited. That's the reality of it. He gets people excited or he gets people pissed off. I said yesterday, nobody's walking into that church going, well, let's see what this guy's all about. No, they've made up their mind. They have. And the polls are showing right now, in some states that he won, he's getting the clobber, vote raced. States that were close, doesn't look good. Lot of stuff can happen between now and November. But he's got issues that he's got to deal with. That's the reality of it. Nobody's excited about Biden. Jill Biden's not excited about Joe Biden. Nobody wakes up and goes, oh my God, Joe Biden, yes! No, nobody does that. Trump has work to do. Here's the thing with Trump. He's a cat that always jumps into the fire. And when everybody else is getting burned, he lands and his tail's a little smoky, but he's fine. Is that what's going to happen? It's possible. You can't count him out. But he's got some work to be done now.
I think there will be people who at the end of it say that they are tired. And maybe that's a benefit to Joe Biden, that he is the guy that's going to go back to normality or less chaos. I mean, I think that's the pitch the Biden campaign is trying to make. However, you cannot count out President Trump.
Brett Baer. He's right. You can't count him out. It's like one of those things where people are like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And for some people out there, even when they see it, they still won't believe it. But you can't count him out. You can't. But the chaos for a lot of people, even people that support what he's done, is getting old. Trump's one of those people that everything's big, everything's bold, everything's loud, it's in your face, it's exciting, but after a while, you're just like, okay, I've had enough. And America's going to decide if they've had enough of Trump or they want 4 more years. They're not going to decide, we want 4 years of Biden. They will sit down between now and November and start to parse things out in their mind. Well, I like the fact that he's done with the judges and the federal judges and appointing. You know, I like what he's done here, and he's wanted done this, and I like this here, and I like, I don't like that, and I can't stand that. The tweeting drives me crazy, and da-da-da-da. And they'll get in there. And between now and November, stuff will change. Could be good, could be bad. And for Trump, it's either great or it's a crash. There is no in between. He goes big or he goes home. But Biden will not be the one people vote for. They'll vote against or for Trump.
His ability to figure out how to get to a W and a win. And I think that, we have a long time to go. And I think history has the ability to look back at moments and put it in context. But I would say that this is, as far as a few months, some of the most chaotic times that we've ever seen.
Yeah. I have friends over at Fox, and they get tired of his antics. They do. I've said that we would talk about normalcy in the country. We're going to get back to normalcy. Well, normalcy is what it is. What's normal for you may not be normal for somebody else. But when it comes to the political world, I've said the only way Biden heals any of this, if you will, is the fact that he's going to bore you to death. Nobody has strong opinions for or against Biden. He's like a vanilla wafer. Right? You're like, that's not the worst thing. It's okay. I mean, it did the job. But I would have rather have a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, an Oreo cookie, a chocolate chip cookie, but I had a vanilla wafer. That's the best way to describe Joe Biden. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. All that being said, craziness still going on in the world of COVID.
If you look at how low we got, what was the best we could do, it was around 20,000 new infections a day still. That was sort of the best we could get, several hundred people still dying every single day. And as you know, we've started to open up again, and as a result, we're going to see an uptick. The question is this. We know it's going to go up. Is it going to go plateau from one plateau to another plateau, or are you going to get behind the curve and all of a sudden the thing takes off into exponential growth? If that happens, it's very hard to catch up.
Yeah, and that's the fear. We're going to get so far behind that it's going to get away from us. But you're not going to be able to put the brakes on people getting back out there. Some people, it's desperation. Do you want to know when it's going to get really serious? The end of next month. Because the end of next month, people are going to have to fish or cut bait. Because they're going to realize that $600, it's gone away. So my $2,400 a month from the feds, that's not here anymore. Now I only have unemployment to live off of from the state. And I'm going to have to start making choices. And they're going to. They're hoping. I've talked to several people. The hopes are there's going to be another bailout, and the hopes are they're going to extend that $600 a week through the end of the year, which is a possibility. It's also a possibility with Trump. That may not happen. Larry Kudlow and them said, no, it's a disincentive for people to work. We're going to keep everybody at home. That, too, is a possibility. That's why therapeutics and the search for the right ones that work, as well as a vaccine, is going to be the best thing out there. And how long is that going to take? I don't know. It's going to take a while, I think. Because even if they found a vaccine today that they said this will work in stopping people from getting the coronavirus, but we're going to have to wait 6 months to find out if your head explodes. Hey, good news. You didn't get the coronavirus. Bad news. In about 3 weeks, your head's going to explode. Why? Well, it's the part of the medicine. So that's why it takes so long. And this isn't like a lot of these drugs, when they do these vaccines, they monitor for years. We don't have years. We have weeks and months. People are going to get desperate. The economy is going to get to a point where even when it starts to flicker, that dimming light is going to have a long way to go to get back to where it's bright as can be. And every day that goes by, every week, every month, you can add on more and more time to getting us back to pre-coronavirus levels. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Got a hilariously awesome What's Trending. What do you guys hear? What's trending right now? I think you guys will appreciate this, especially if you're a listener of the Chad Benson Show. Boomer Naturals. Boomer. 30-day, 30-use face coverings made from 3 layers of high-quality, hypoallergenic material, 65% cotton, 35% polyester, treated with nanosilver technology, antibacterial and antiviral protection. It's right there on the cloth. You wear the cloth, you take it home, wash it in warm water and soap, let it air dry, put it on again, and away you go. It's not a one-size-fits-all. No, they've got extra large. They've got large. They've got medium, small, kid sizes, different colors. You're going to love them. They're comfortable, which is great. And they're less than 30 cents a day. Plus, you're going to get a certification to show you how effective they are. 92.2% effective. Use code CHAD20. You're going to save 20% right there, plus $50. Anytime you spend over that, it's free shipping. Code CHAD20 at boomernaturals.com. Boomernaturals.com. Use the code CHAD20. Boomernaturals.com. Code CHAD20. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's find out. What is trending? On Google, not a lot. AOC, digital juggernaut. She vastly outspent her fellow House members and even most senators online. She's a digital juggernaut. So they're calling her. Did it help? First, if you're a Democrat in that area, Nancy Pelosi says you could run a glass of water. But the party is her party for the future. And I know that scares a lot of Dems. There's a lot of Dems out there that would like to see her go. There's a lot of Republicans that I talk to who are in D.C. that would love to see Trump gone. Ron Jeremy, for those of you who don't know, he's an adult film star. He's been charged with sexually assaulting 4 women. Novak Djokovic tested positive for the coronavirus. I do believe he's going to beat it. It's just me. Head on over to Twitter, and this is where the fun begins, kids. Normally Twitter is crazy. It's crazy weird. It is. Rhode Island, we talked about it earlier. They're changing their name. They're not going to get rid of Rhode Island, but they're going to use plantations also in the name. So they're not going to use that. The Loch Ness Monster, Nellie. That's right. A tourist actually took a picture of Nessie, and it's, I don't know what it is. Because the thought process, it's a sturgeon, or it's this, that, and the other. I've been to Loch Ness. It's a trip. But there's something in the water. And it's big. Looks more like a fish, but if it's a sturgeon, it's like the biggest one ever. Like ever. It's something, though. And it's a good picture. So check it out. Tweeted it. It's pretty entertaining. Bigfoot, always trending because Bigfoot's awesome. Wear a damn mask is trending. That's where we are now. So wear a mask or don't wear a mask. If somebody asks me to wear a mask, I respectfully do it. If you come to my house and say you have to wear a mask in my house, I'll say kiss my ass and get out. I'm not wearing a mask in my car. Not going to do it. If I go to a store and the rules are you have to wear a mask, I put a mask on. So I'm not a lunatic for it. I respect other people. And we've gotten to the point where this is what it's become, which is a battle. In Orange County, California, the other day, there was a pro-mask press conference that was interrupted, and eventually the press conference was called off by the anti-maskers. Like we've chosen to battle it out over a mask. How about be respectful? That's something, right? And use common sense. I think that's all anybody wants. But when somebody screams and yells, you're not wearing a mask, you're killing everybody. Or somebody yells, hey, I'm being forced to wear a mask, you're taking away my rights. Everybody needs to shut the blank up. Grow up. It's not about you. Just be respectful. Common sense. Not as common as we think. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
A horrible incident.
A horrifying, racist, jarring, disturbing,
Heinous, perverted,
ugly,
cowardly,
dreadful,
hateful,
stunning, shocking, appalling, disgusting reminder of who, again, this sport is for.
A noose found in the garage stall of Bubba Wallace.
Obviously, this is completely appalling, but do you think it's surprising?
No, it's not surprising at all.
It's not, because this is all about everything that's wrong with America. There's the noose in there. It wasn't a noose. No, but it was. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And I can understand why people think it was a noose, right? Sport, gonna throw it out there. NASCAR, predominantly white. I know it's shocking. Most people are like, what? Yeah, totally. Secondly, Confederate flag. Can't fly it anymore. People kind of pissed. Bubba Wallace is not Jesse Smollett. He's not. He's not. People doubt him. I said yesterday I was skeptical because how many times have people been burned by this? Not just the Jesse Smolletts. You can go back and look at how many college campus incidents there have been, only to find out when they start questioning, the people break down like an egg being thrown off a roof. They crack because they wanted attention. Because they did. And when we have confirmation bias, when you're out there and at the height of all that's going on right now, race in this country, George Floyd, Rashad Brooks, Ahmaud Arbery, all of these things that are happening. You've defund the police. You've had protests. This is everybody's heightened. And then you're looking. And his crew was trying to protect him. They saw something. And they alerted people.
It wasn't targeted towards me, but it's still frustrating to know that, people are always going to test you and always just going to try to debunk you. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around now from saying I'm a fake and all this stuff, and that I reported it when it was news that was brought to me. It was information that was brought to me.
Yeah, there you go. Information brought to him. He didn't report it. I don't blame him. Everybody's looking around for something. Well, what was it? Well, there's pictures going back to 2019 in October of this thing being there. It's a rope. Pull the garage door down. People are like, well, why don't they have electric garage doors? It's got to be a noose. And that's what they still think it is. Some people out there, and that goes, it's just like what we're doing now. It's like with the mask debate. It's like people pick their side. They want they've got their confirmation bias. They see it for what it is. I always tell everybody, it's the interpretation of art. You walk up there and you're like, wow, look at that. It's the most amazing thing. The way that the red shimmers over the white and the way that it does this, that, and the other. And then another person walks up and goes, it's the flag of Japan. It wasn't a noose, but he didn't do anything to promote this. Again, everybody's heightened in a situation like this.
And whoever had the time to create that and tie it up like that, just they were skeptical about it. And when the FBI says those types of things, and I told them, I had questioned my team members, are we sure that this isn't something that we're kind of taking out of context? And they backed my team up and reiterated that if you were to see this at this time, you would stand with your team right now of why they were so alerted. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't blame him. But then I've got a lot of people out there like, he's been found out. Settle down. This is what happens here. Everybody wants to be Like, you think if you're right, well, I called it. I did. Said it was a hoax. It wasn't a hoax. It was a misinterpretation of something that had been there for a while. It's not a hoax. It wasn't a hoax. It also wasn't a hate crime. But everybody's looking for that. Case in point, Oakland, last week. If you look, you'll find something.
These symbols are symbols of racial violence, and it's incumbent on all of us to have that sensitivity, to have that knowledge. What a privilege for those of us that don't feel complete fear and terror when we see a rope in the tree.
Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf is so alarmed by the video she saw of a rope that looked like a noose in a tree at Lake Merritt, she's calling for a hate crime investigation.
By the way, she's a boob, and we'll tell you about that in a second. It's a noose in the tree. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. It's just gotta be. Hold on. It actually isn't. But what she says here is astounding.
The intentions will matter with regard to whether or not this is prosecuted as a hate crime, but intentions don't matter.
No, actually, intentions do matter. And I'll tell you why. Because to have a hate crime, it's got to be intentional. Right? What if, and I was thinking about this, and it's horrible to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. What if somebody was contemplating killing themselves? They tied a rope, and they were going to do it. And then they panicked and they ran away. Somebody saw it, said that guy did it. There's no intention, but it was taken that way. No, intentions matter, you buffoon. You buffoon. Well, Chad, it's a noose in a tree. It has to be some evil person that did it. No, actually, a black guy put it up there because he likes to work out.
But this man, Victor Sengbe, told us the rope is part of a rigging used by him and his friends as part of a larger swing system. He even shared this video of it in action with ABC 7 News.
Out of the dozens and hundreds and thousands of people that have walked by, no one, has thought that it looked anywhere close to a noose. Right? Folks have used it for exercise. Folks have, it was really a fun addition to the park that we tried to create.
No. What it is, people are looking for it. People are looking for it. And your mind, with your confirmation bias, right? Your mind is looking for it. It's like people, you go and you test drive a car. You're like, oh, I'd like to get this car or that car. Then everywhere you go, you see that car. You see that car. Oh my God, that. People are looking for something. It wasn't that. And intentions do matter. And who voted for you is beyond me. That's why you're Oaktown, baby. It's crazy. But everybody's looking for something. It's got to be something. This is bad. It's got to be something. No, my God. It's got to be something. Oh, my. Settle down. Everybody needs to breathe. When you have emotions running as high as they are, you're not going to get any real good decision-making coming out of that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Here's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can tweet right at me. Right there. Just tweet at me. Your love, your hate. I'm fine with either of it. I try to answer as many as I possibly can, by the way. Don't always get to do it, but I try to, and I try to read everything. And it's hard because some days you get hundreds and so many. It's just, I try to do the best that I possibly can. By the way, Flynn, Federal Appeals Court said, no, you gotta get rid of this. Right? You gotta dismiss his case. So I guess that's a win for Trump. I'm sure we'll hear about it all day. Oh my God, did you hear? Like, oh yeah, I heard. And I don't care. At this point in time. People always ask me, like, so, because they'll start talking and then they want to get deep into it about things like Flynn. I'm like, do you want to know what Flynn was? Flynn was a guy who was yes sir, no sir. He built up a nice career inside the military. He made some good connections and he was a fringe player and he had the opportunity to make some bank. That's it. And he took it. He didn't register. Then he panicked and he lied. I don't think he's nefarious. I don't think he's selling out our country. I don't think any of those things. I don't think he did anything wrong. And lying about not committing a crime that wasn't a crime is ridiculous. And at the same time, you lied to the vice president. She should have been fired right there. But the big thing was, he's a dude who wanted money. Somebody's going to give him a decent amount of money to register as a foreign agent, which he didn't do. And what ends up happening? Gets a little bit of bank. Then all of a sudden, Russia. And they look around and you're like, oh my God. I just think this is one of those guys that saw some cash in front of him. Is what it is. I'll sleep fine tonight, whether he's in jail or out of jail. Nefarious? No. Inept? Possible. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program. Baseball's coming back. Spring training won't be as long. 60-game season. They've agreed to it. Now they got to get back at it so they can get back at it.
Players are expected to report to spring training July 1st, but because of spikes in COVID-19 cases in Arizona and Florida, most teams will train in their own ballparks. Also testing for COVID-19 every other day and a separate injured list for players who test positive or show symptoms. Non-playing staff will be expected to wear masks in the dugout at all times. And as a safety precaution, no spitting or chewing tobacco allowed. Celebratory contact like high fives and fist bumps also banned.
That's not going to happen. Guys are going to spit. The chew you may get rid of. Sunflower seeds are the big thing. And high fives and stuff like that are going to happen because it's a natural thing. In the moment, people will forget. And a high five isn't going to give you the coronavirus. It's just not. Wash your hands. It's not going to give you the corona. A hug's not going to give you the coronavirus. I hugged somebody 6 weeks ago. Probably got the COVID. Since then, I haven't done anything. Probably got it, though. That's the ridiculousness of where we are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Gold, baby. Gold, baby. There's gold in them there hills. No, but you should have some gold in them there IRA of yours. 800-202-6936. You're going to call that? Why? Because it's Valor Gold Group. Let me tell you something. If you go and look at where gold is headed and where the dollar's headed, you're going to want to get yourself some gold. It's about protecting the downside, your retirement, your nest egg, and building wealth. That's what Valor Gold Group has got. Over 50 years of experience are going to show you what to do. It's not just about just one side of it. It's not. Having gold and silver, which, just in case the world does go to any more hell in a handbasket, guess what? Not only will it protect you from the crashes and the inflation, if you need an immediate source of money, gold and silver. Gold and silver qualify to be added to your IRA. 800-202-6936. Reserve your free, exclusive copy of the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence from Valor Gold Group. Call them today, 800-202-6936. Or go to valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. VALOR goldgroup.com/Chad. Protect your wealth and your retirement today. valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
It was clever. The Segway, introduced in 2001, balancing itself on two side-by-side wheels, you standing in the middle.
Get ready to change the way you think about travel.
But the personal transportation revolution it promised never arrived. The original $5,000 price tag was a major hurdle. And then there were the accidents, some cities banning them because users could easily lose control if they weren't balanced properly. Now Segway hitting the brakes. The company's namesake vehicle will be retired on July 15th. Segway's president saying the Segway PT last year accounted for less than 1.5% of the company's revenue.
Yeah, when it first was coming out, I remember it because I was in the financial industry and they were talking about all this money that had flown into this company. Segway, oh my God, all this money. But nobody knew what the company was. But people were saying it's going to change everything, the way that we travel. the way that we do things. This is going to be something that's amazing. And then people started getting wind of it, and they had some videos of it. And then cities, before it ever came out, were already banning it from sidewalks. Right? So that's not a good start. But then you have to realize, who's going to get on this thing? Like, who's getting on this? It's not the average person. The average person who hasn't ridden a bike in 10 years or 15 years. Average dude who hasn't been on a skateboard for 30. Hey, here, go. Have fun. No. It's. I got on one of those one-wheel things a couple weeks ago. Yeah, no. Hey, it goes up to 30 miles an hour. Oh, great. So I can crash at 30 miles an hour on a one-wheel thing? Sounds fantastic. Segway was easier, but it never took off. And it flopped. You get a lot of that. A lot of hype. And then it went, wah, 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 wah. But it was still kind of a neat thing of where we should be going. You think this will be great. I always thought by now we'd have like conveyor belts and monorails everywhere. We have none of those. We have no flying cars, and that's a good thing. Don't you wish there were flying cars? Yeah, if you're the only one who has a flying car, it sounds great. Imagine, though, if everybody has a flying car. Not only do I have to worry about people crashing when I'm driving on the street, now I have to worry about people crashing and falling to the ground.
Adding to the mystery, scientists have discovered a ring of large shafts a few miles from Stonehenge, which could be almost 5,000 years old. Archaeologists say they form the largest prehistoric monument ever discovered in Britain. Experts say they believe those shafts may have served as a border to a sacred area and could mark a new chapter in the story of Stonehenge.
Wizards. You know it's wizards, right? They use those. They used those so they could open up the doorway to the other dimension and go in and out. But they opened up a doorway at a different dimension, and there was a big like T-Rex, and it bit them, and then those things fell, and over the years it just got covered up. And so you got that. This sounds kind of plausible. Of course it's wizards. Hello. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Somebody just tweeted at me. We were talking about mask, right? The mask revolution. Somebody says, and I quote, everyone, capitalized, needs to wear a mask in public. Like, but what's public to you? Is that like, so if I go to an establishment, I go to Target or Walmart, not when I'm in my car, not when I'm walking down the street by myself, not when I'm in my house, out back. No, Chad, just in public. Well, it's public. If I'm just going for a walk around the block and I'm by myself, is that public? Yes. Do I need to wear a mask then? What if the store doesn't require it? I'm curious. I just want to know what public is to you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In the industrial heartland of Ohio, Scott Seitz is a lifelong Democrat who voted Republican for the first time in 2016. And along with his three sons, he helped to put Donald Trump in office. This is Scott today. Do you think he's done a good job with this protest movement?
I think he handled it like an arrogant businessman, showing a lack of compassion for people, and what he did out in front of the church and making those folks move with smoke bombs and tear gas and have that shot of that him and holding that Bible. That was about the last straw for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it was. And why does it matter? Well, let's not forget, we have a presidential election that is getting ready to really ramp up. Joe Biden, former President Obama were trying to raise money yesterday, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there are the independents, at the end of the day, Because everybody always tries to put you in a box, right? Yeah, I'm on talk radio. Chad, you're a talk radio host. And you do all this stuff, so you've got to be super conservative. You're liberal? What are you? I'm independent, free thinking. I look over and I say, I've got my thoughts and ideas on this based on either experiences or data. And usually it's a lot of both. Everybody wants to put you in a box. You can't do that. Independents at the end of the day are going to be the ones, as they always are, that will sway one way or another this presidential election. And this presidential election has very little to do with Joe Biden. Joe Biden's biggest thing that he will do, and you really rarely say this, if ever, is picking who the next Democrat candidate is going to be, which will be his vice president. That will be his biggest thing that he is going to do. Outside of that, the reality is this race for president is going to be Donald Trump versus Donald Trump. Donald Trump and his actions, Donald Trump and his chaos. That's it. For some people, they've had enough. They look at the actions and at some point in time, they're like, all right, we've had enough. For other people, they could go, well, I care more about the actions. The chaos is crazy. I just have to learn to tune it out.
Scott, if the election were held tomorrow, Biden versus Trump, who do you vote for?
Trump.
You vote for Trump right now.
I dislike Biden that much and don't feel he's going to lead our country. I only support him about 10%. Trump's only about 25%.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. I said it, and I'll say it again. 350 million people in America, and the best that we have on offer is this. 350 million people in our country, and we're like, all right, so what do we got? We got this guy and that guy. We've got this guy who was a reality TV host and a Playboy billionaire who's had some financial struggles, but always seems to land on his feet. At the same time, can be very divisive, plays the game, and he's a lot more P.T. Barnum than Ronald Reagan. Over here, we have this guy, Joe Biden, who's been around so long, I'm worried they're going to tear him down because they think he's a statue. He doesn't excite anybody, including his wife. I have questions about Joe Biden's foot in the mouth moments, because they're not just foot in the mouth moments. They're moments where you're like, I don't think Grandpa should drive the car, let alone the country. 350 million people. This is what we've got. I like what Trump was all about at first. I don't care about the parties. Parties mean very little to me. You're beholden to the party. What have I always said? It's personal, it's party, then it's people. Should never be that way. It should be people first. Always. Always. But it's not. It's the party is always about the people. And everybody's going to do what's best for them. Voters are going to do the same thing. And people are going to have to make a decision. And that decision isn't Joe Biden. That decision is Donald Trump or Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the actions, the appointments on the court. I thought the way that he handled the economy was fantastic. I wish he would have been stronger with China, but the fact that he even tried to do anything with China was pretty damn good. I could do without some of the theatrics. The tweeting drives me crazy. And the reality is he loves to stoke the fire that's already there. But he likes to play the games. It's Trump versus Trump. Nobody, again, is voting for Biden because they're like, that guy. Wow.
On to West Virginia, coal country. Just after President Trump took office, I met Alan Lardieri. He is a proud veteran and a coal miner. You got people here hanging by a thread. and they're putting their faith in Donald Trump. Their jobs are gone, their pensions are gone, their health care isn't there. They're trying to push that opioid away. Speak for them to this president.
Mr. President, you're the most unconventional candidate that has ever took this office. In your own words, if you do not deliver, you're fired.
Yeah. That's it. That's the way it should be, right? Never fall in love with the president, fall in like any politician. And then break up with them the minute you vote for them. Make them earn your vote again. Battleground states are getting even more testy. States that were once dead red are becoming purple and blue. States that the Republicans could count on. And there are voters out there who did vote for Trump and thought, ugh, sorry.
Always, every election that I participated in, I voted red all the way down the ballot. I supported both McCain and Romney. In 2016, I was supportive of Rubio. Obviously, after the primaries, we had Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I was not a fan of either of them, but I really disliked Hillary Clinton and decided to look past some of the behavior of Donald Trump because I figured the guy's not a politician, he's a businessman. Maybe he can do things in a different way because I disagreed with how politicians did things on both sides of the aisle. And I figured, maybe we needed something different. I was wrong. I was very, very wrong.
Yeah. I thought he would have done a few things different. I understand what he wanted to do. I think there would have been times I thought he would have listened a little bit more to other people. But he didn't do that. It's just not his style. It's not his way. Some will jump ship. Some will stay the course. But at the end of the day, it's Trump versus Trump. Take Biden out of the equation. We had a guy on last week or the week before that said Biden can go away and stay inside of a vacation home or a bunker until the election. It doesn't change, and it's not going to. The end of the day, what happens between now and the end of the year for those independents will swing this. But Trump's in for the fight of his life. I don't care what the polls say at this moment in time. I think it'll be much closer. But if Trump thinks he's going to walk away with this, he's fooling himself. And I think he knows Biden's less is more tactics, at least right now, are working. That's why he would love to have a fourth debate. I think he feels like at the end of the day, if I can get Biden one-on-one on stage, I can make a fool at him, which will get those other people who are really thinking about it to go, no. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us and text the program. We're having a jump in the coronaviruses or virus. Remember, there's several coronaviruses. They've been around for a while. But this one, the 19, Trump's like, what do you call it 19? Because 2000, never mind. Just whatever.
Our top doctor is warning Congress they are preparing for a possible coronavirus resurgence.
We're now seeing a disturbing surge of infections.
This fall and winter is going to be difficult, and we need to be prepared for it.
Their assessment backed by troubling numbers. COVID-19 hospitalizations are rising in 21 states, and the rate of positive cases is rising in 23.
Yeah. You better figure something out sooner rather than later. Vaccine, Fauci's like, well, we may get a vaccine by the end of the year. Which I think is possible. We got enough companies working on it. Somebody's going to get it right. But will it be the first company, or is it going to be the 161st of the 162 or whatever that are working on it? That I don't know. Therapeutics, you'd like to think we're getting closer. Not so much. It's not dire. I don't think the world's coming to an end. But the reality is it's not going anywhere. And it puts pressure on a lot of different things, from the economy to the mental health of our country. So we've got to figure something out sooner rather than later. And I think we will get there. It's not the 2 million people they thought were going to die. I mean, we've only got 400,000 people that died globally. Think about it. There's 7+ billion people. So wrap your hand around that. You're like, oh, yeah, hold on a second. But we've got to do better. And part of that is that third of it, which is the mental aspect of people that are afraid to go outside and or people who are afraid to spend money to jumpstart our economy because they're worried they're not going to have a job. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Rough Greens, rough. My dog Doodle, talk about him all the time. I got other little dogs too. I got Bowie and I got Red. They're puppies. Bowie's like 4 months old, 3 months old. Red just turned a year. And they love to play. Doodle never played. He's got bad hips because he's got fatty tumors. We started giving him Rough Greens on his dry food, which is, we get him really good dry food. The thing is, those things aren't meant to, they're meant to sit on a shelf for as long as necessary. Rough Greens, we sprinkle it on. It's not dog food, but it brings the food to life. It's got antioxidants, it's got vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, omega-3, 6, and 9. It is amazing. It's changed his life. He plays with the puppies. He runs around and does stuff he's never done with us in the 3 years we've had him. I love it. You will love seeing your dog change for the better. 14-day jumpstart from Rough Greens is $14.95. It will be the best thing you've ever done for your dog. It reduces or completely eliminates your dog's system. How do you get it? You go to roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. That's ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. Rough Greens. We make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Headline, The Atlantic. Phil whispers in my ear. I'm like, it can't be true. I go look it up. My Little Pony fans are ready to admit they have a Nazi problem. Even a niche subculture built around magical cartoon horses is reckoning with racism. Now, I've seen My Little Pony. I got little ones. At no time during any of the My Little Ponies did I ever go, wow, you guys cannot watch this anymore. The Goebbels pony is awful. The Garen pony, I don't even want to get into. And let's not talk about the other ones. The Hitler pony. Who directed this episode? Lenny Riefenstahl. For those of you out there who read, you'll be like, oh my God, Chad, that was funny. I bet you Phil's laughing.
I'm dying.
There you go. It's crazy. This is what happens when you look everywhere. You will find what you need. You will absolutely find what you need to find. That's the problem why people can't trust, like, people say, well, how do you trust the news? You don't. But people don't have time to go searching in 75,000 places to find out the truth. Every side is looking for the people that they want to connect with. And those people are looking to connect with the same kind of people in their belief system. So the confirmation bias is easy. If you hate Trump, you can find everything you need that will back that up. If you love Trump, you will find everything you need to back that up. If you want the truth about situations that Trump is dealing with, it's hard to find that because nobody's serving you. They're serving their group. If you're looking for racism, you can find it in everything if you look hard enough, including apparently My Little Pony, which I was completely unaware has any Nazi symbols or racism anywhere. But apparently it does. They have an Aryan pony because somebody's made it up. That's not My Little Pony's fault, by the way. It's not. Right? They just want to be the little pony. They want to live in Equestria. Right? They want to hang out there with Twilight Sparkle, Fluttershy, and just chill. Based on what I read, you could argue they have a drug problem. Seems like somebody was high when they wrote this. It's possible. You ever watch H.R. Puffin stuff? Anything Sid and Marty Krofft did back in the 70s and 60s, you're like, these guys had to be super high. Like, it's the entire psychedelic trip. You got a guy with a talking flute. Hey, Jimmy, where do you think we should go? I don't know. All right. Let's just get high. What's that? My goodness me. God, I loved H.R. Puffin stuff. I did. What a great thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. And by the way, if you're a brony, don't hit me up. Producer Phil, tell everybody what a brony is, because I always screw it up.
They're people who live their life around My Little Pony. They're mostly guys, and they mostly live in their mom's basement.
Mostly live in them. They're not furries. Those are totally different basement dwellers. These are people who live their life based in the Equestria dreamland. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If you look at how low we got, what was the best we could do, it was around 20,000 new infections a day still. That was sort of the best we could get, several hundred people still dying every single day. And as you know, we've started to open up again, and as a result, we're going to see an uptick. The question is this: we know it's going to go up. Is it going to go plateau from one plateau to another plateau, or are you going to get behind the curve and all of a sudden the thing takes off into exponential growth? If that happens, it's very hard to catch up.
Dr. Gupta, it is hard to catch up. Here's the thing. We need to decide when it comes to the coronavirus, what's our goal? The long-term goal is vaccine, and the long-term goal is the therapeutic. Therapeutic first, probably, and then a vaccine. That's the long-term goal. The medium-range goal is, what is the acceptable risk for the population that's healthy that we can undertake in by practicing, just being clean and wearing a mask if asked to, and making sure that we come in contact with as little people at this moment in time so we can slow the spread down. We're not going to eliminate it. So we can get back to some daily functions so we can start to get our economy up off the mat and moving forward. Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. What does that look like? We don't, because there's no plan. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff that's going on. And you can only plan for so much. So how does that work? That's what each state has to figure out. What's the acceptable risk when it comes to the healthy population of allowing people to live their lives, realizing that we're going to have to take certain precautions so we don't overwhelm hospitals, but we also don't destroy our economy. Well, we've already gone and destroyed our economy. And we've tried to reopen, and in many cases, it's been just a hodgepodge of crap. This is where you stand up and say, all right, here's the deal. This is what we do. There are people that are vulnerable we need to protect. We can't tell people wearing masks is going to really reduce things and say, but you only get to live 15% of your life. No, it doesn't work that way. Allow people to engage in some living while also having some personal responsibility, and let's protect the people that need to be protected as best that we can. It's not going to be perfect. There is no utopia in this. There isn't. There is just, let's do the best we can, have some personal responsibility. Sheltering in place, we did it in many cases. Some places did it for almost 100 days. Others did it for 60. But at the end of the day, it's still here. So what's the other best, worst plan we have? Vaccine, God willing, will come. Probably not till, as Fauci pointed out, late this year, early next.
Although you can never guarantee at all the safety and efficacy of a vaccine until you actually test it in the field, we feel cautiously optimistic to be able to be ahead of the game so that when, and I believe it will be when and not if, we get favorable candidates with good results, we will be able to make them available to the American public within a year from when we started, which would put us at the end of this calendar year and the beginning of 2021.
And that'd be great, but that's still a long way off. And we can't run on, 25% of the economy and expect us that even when we get the vaccine for us to just, we're going to have to do something. So what is that something? I think the best thing that we can do is start to say, you're under 65 and you're in good health. Your average health, you're probably not going to die from this. Like 99.5% chance of you're going to survive. If you're older and you're in good health, you're probably 98% chance you're going to survive. And if you want to take that risk, feel free. It's a free country. But if you have health conditions that make you susceptible to something like this, then we've got to protect you. If you're elderly, we have to protect. These are things that we need to do. And then we can go from there. But allow people to get out there and live their life. You want to go to the beach and they ask you to, go to the beach. Right? You want to go to a gym? Feel free to go to a gym. Just be smart. It's not that hard. But for some people it is. Some younger people, because everybody's been young once. We all thought we were invincible. Then you get older and you realize, well, no. I love how people condemn them. All these young kids are out there doing like you wouldn't. Well, I probably would. No, you probably would. You laugh at it, you're like, nothing's going to happen to me. But we've got to get back out there. But we just need to do it in a smart way and use common sense, which is hard. Personal responsibility and common sense. Oh, some people just aren't equipped for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. I'll touch on this. Flynn, by the way, for those of you guys not keeping score, remember that Flynn character? Well, he got good news today when it comes to his case.
The Washington, D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals ordered Judge Emmett Sullivan to grant the Justice Department's request to drop the criminal charges against President Trump's former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The court said this is not the kind of rare case where additional judicial review is warranted. The Justice Department said the FBI began investigating Flynn for no legitimate reason, even though Flynn admitted to lying about his contacts with the then Russian ambassador to the United States.
But just because you have a contact doesn't mean you were doing anything wrong. You lied about having a conversation with somebody that wasn't nefarious or illegal. So you lied about a crime that wasn't a crime. And we move on. Right? You lied to the vice president. You should have been fired for that immediately. You didn't register as a foreign agent. You did some other stuff. But the FBI also has issues in this big time. And it's funny, if you're on the right side of the aisle, you look at this, you're like, oh my God, the FBI, they're out to get, Peter Strzok, And if you're on the left side of the aisle, like, oh, I don't care what the FBI did because these guys are bad. Here's the reality. Everybody, Flynn wanted a little bit of money. It's an opportunity. Go out there and engage in situations where he's going to get a little bit of cabbage. Wasn't right. You lied to the vice president. Should have been fired right there. Nefarious, not so much. Inept, absolutely. And the FBI, you've got some serious issues here. And that needs to be addressed as well. You're not all bad, but there was a few apples in this one where you're like, no. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. Martha Raddatz over the weekend sat down with Bolt. I really didn't get to it. We're hoping to have him on next week. This is the way I look at this, right? Is it shocking, some of the stuff in there? How much of it's true? How much of it did you put mustard on, if you will? Put a little extra hot sauce on it because you're trying to sell a book? You're going to talk about the re-election side of things.
You described the president as erratic, foolish, behaved irrationally, bizarrely. You can't leave him alone for a minute. He saw conspiracies behind rocks and was stunningly uninformed. He couldn't tell the difference between his personal interests and the country's interests.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job. There really isn't any guiding principle that I was able to discern other than what's good for Donald Trump's reelection.
Is some of that true? Absolutely. First of all, every politician is on the clock because they all want to keep their little fiefdoms. Presidents are different. You only get 2 goes, right? But, of course some of that is. I've always said Donald loves himself a conspiracy theory. That's why they're just, there's aliens, and that's the one thing that we cannot tell him we've got aliens and dinosaurs. You just can't do it because he's going to tweet it out in 30 seconds, right? We can give him some other stuff, but we can't give him everything. We can't. Is he uninformed? Probably. Or he's informed the way that he wants to be informed. I think that's a real probability there. He's not an idiot. He just kind of believes what he believes. And there's no guiding principle. Well, that's very real. That's why he was an appeal to so many people, because he wasn't guided by the Republican talking points and the Democrat talking points. He was Donald. He didn't live or die by the red or blue. But yeah, do I think Donald's always looking out for number one? Yeah. Name a politician that's not. Name a politician that's not looking out for number one. Name one. Subconsciously, they're always looking out for number one. Those politicians that they're not looking out. Those ones are long gone. You think Nancy Pelosi isn't looking out for Nancy Pelosi? And of course the Democratic Party, but Nancy Pelosi first and foremost? Yeah, of course. Mitch McConnell? Come on. It's not just one side. It's all sides. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get him on next week. It'll be interesting. It will be. I don't put too much credence in any of these things. Everybody writes a book. He's got to sell a lot more books. They gave him a fat $2 million bank account signing bonus, if you will. So he's got to move some weight, as they would say. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's Twitter and your Instagram. By the way, on Twitter right now, some people are fighting on my Twitter, and it started with the posting of the Loch Ness thing, and now it has devolved into them calling each other names. Because you guys haven't heard, there's a great picture a tourist took visiting Loch Ness of Nessie, or something that is definitely a creature that's not a fish. It may be a fish, but it's a big-ass fish that wouldn't be found normally parts like these. And, that's the way it goes. Just go. I always tell everybody, you want to see what the world's really like in crazy loony land? Who cares what the article is? Just go look at the comments, because within 5 or 6 comments, somebody mentions Trump or says something good or bad about Trump, and then it just goes from there, and then it's a fight. It is. Gabby is not a fight. They're going to take out the chaos and craziness of shopping for homeowners and car insurance by giving you apples-to-apples comparison in about 2 minutes to find out if you're getting the best rate. Nationwide Travelers, just a few of those apples-to-apples comparison. Takes a couple minutes. You link your info, and they're going to give you those comparisons for the exact same coverage you have. For my homeowners insurance, it was spot on. Car insurance saved $1,000. Gabby customers on average save $825 a year. Doesn't cost anything. Takes about 2 minutes. Find out what you can save. They're never going to spam you or robocall you. There's no obligation. It's absolutely free. Go to Gabby.com/Benson. GABI.com/Benson. Gabby.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
It all happened at a party years ago. Winona Ryder tells the UK Sunday Times she was with one of her good friends. They were all chatting, and she says Gibson turned to her friend, who's gay, and said, quote, "Oh, wait, am I going to get AIDS?" And then she says something came up about Jewish people, and he said to her, quote, "You're not an oven dodger, are you?" Apparently a reference to Jews burned in ovens during the Holocaust. A rep for Mel Gibson calls the story 100% untrue. That writer lied about it over a decade ago, and she's lying now. Gibson has been recorded in the past making anti-Semitic comments and racial slurs.
You think? Yeah. It's an interesting thing with old Mel, because he has said some stuff. Would he have said something like that? I could absolutely believe it. Absolutely. Now, in saying that, could somebody say something like that in today's world and it not be true? Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, come on, let's be real. We've heard Mel say some stuff. We've heard Mel say a few things. Just a smidge. He's got some tape out there of a few things. I love how he says they called him an oven dodger, maybe in reference to what took place in the Holocaust. I don't think he's talking about pizzas. It'll be interesting though, because then you found out that they're going to do there's another movie that he was in. They're doing a sequel, and apparently he's already been told he's not going to be in the movie. And you wonder, it's like, why now? Well, it said it in the past and they denied it because it wasn't the time. Now's the time. You've got the opportunity to have a gotcha moment. And they probably have other beef, as the kids would say. I don't know Mel, but I've seen some stuff and heard some stuff. And I don't know Winona, although I've met her, but we're not close. But this is what's happening. You're going to get a lot of this. The confirmation bias. See it, find it. That's what I want. It confirms my belief. This is what it is. Can't be disputed. Can't. And that's a bunch of crap. We know that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Man, there's so much stuff we didn't even get to. We're going to have to get to it tomorrow. We will, though. That I do promise. There's a lot of, there's like so much stuff. But we talked about a lot today. Think about what we talked about. We talked about the bronies. Bronies are the My Little Pony niche subculture of grown men who are obsessed with Equestria and Twilight Sparkle and My Pretty. Who's the leader of the Little Pony people?
I don't know.
Well, it's not a helper. You know who it's not, Phil? It's not Bunny Carlos. Boom! Cheap trick. Wow! Go Chad. So, but apparently they have issues with the Nazis in the subculture. I don't even. Who's like, well, some people are pro. Some My Little Ponies are pro Black Lives Matter. I'm like, I don't think they're pro anything because they're not real. We talked about Trump, the coronavirus, Major League Baseball, Jimmy Kimmel, Bubba Wallace, Loch Ness Monster. My goodness me. John Bolton in his book. There's a lot of stuff, kids. A lot of stuff. And we got plenty more. Have yourself a great day. We'll do it again tomorrow. We got you over the hump. Woo, woo. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.